Hello everyone, welcome to Spider-Man Venom Series Season 2 review. This is the first season to have an overarching story. Our episodes had to do with neurogenics. Neurogenics is the study of DNA, why mutations happen, and what causes those mutations. That's the fun part. Spider-Man, Lizard, and Scorpion all give powers due to neurogenics via neurogenic recombination. Fellows, Stillwell made the neurogenic recombination and made the Scorpion himself. These are all details from Season 1. But I didn't mention my Season 1 review, but applying to Season 2. And the reason why I didn't mention them is because I didn't think they were important. It's hard to remember all the important details. Even though I have seen this show, it has been a while. And I think it's cool that they made a season out of this idea, because why not make it about neurogenics and, like the concept of how, how Spider-Man got his powers. And I think it'd be easier to tackle this review episode by episode due to the fact that it's, overarching story. It'd be easier to do that than, like, an overview of then go episode by episode. So most episodes are 2 parts. Even if they're not technically classified as 2 parts, they basically are 2 parts. I think only like 2 episodes on standalone episodes. So episodes 1 and 2, baby. Peter's talking to Bruce. Bruce is like, Bruce the Gargo. He's the best side character. Always there for Peter when he needs it. But Spider-Man's using his powers and powerful wall. The Kingpin's having an evil meaning attack about how crime has gone up. It very much reminds me of, like, the scene from, like, Dark Dungeons when, like, all, like, the world, cultists are talking about how, like, evil is going up in the world. Basically that. It's just with crime bosses in the Marvel Universe. Hammerhead is there and Silverman. Silverman questions the Kingpin because he hasn't been able to destroy Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been following the Kingpin's plan. And Kingpin's saying prideful. So, like, it was a good side. It's like, oh, you're questioning me? You questioning me? I'm the only one here, so you must be questioning me. So, the Kingpin's logical collusion was to break out Doc Ock, Chameleon, Rhino, Shocker, Scorpion, and Mysterio out of jail to form the Insane Six. Why not Sinister Six? I don't know. I looked into this, and apparently, the X-Men 90s cartoon, also made by Fox, also aired on Fox, was allowed to have Mr. Sinister keep his names. I mean, I cannot tell you, like, I legitimately cannot tell you why they changed the name, but it is what it is. A small detail that I like is that, like, only the Shocker and Rhino knew the Kingpin's voice because they worked with him in the past. So they're like, oh yeah, that's the Kingpin. Spider-Man's powers keep, like, going in and out. And then Peter slept for a day. Which, basically doesn't matter, but it matters in the short term, Connor's talking about a grant from Adrian Toombs for neogenics and how one of the students would become his lab's assistant if he got Mark and Moby as his film induced. And Deborah from the first episode of Season 1 is back, and I didn't see anything about that, who she is in my Season 1 review, because she's only in 1 episode, but maybe like 1 minute. Not worth mentioning, but she plays a bigger part in the season, so there you go. Peter's late to Connor's class because he's overslept. After class, Felicia asks Peter out. And, since Peter overslept, he didn't realize the villains were flaming Spider-Man, for villainous things. And they did this to draw Spider-Man out. Spider-Man, fights the Six without powers. But it didn't work out so well. He barely escaped. Spider-Man goes to Connors to see what's wrong with him. During the test, Spider-Man talks to himself about the spiral bite. that he got his powers from, which I enjoyed, but save that story for later, like slowly like revealing his backstory bit by bit. It's not just like, all of it all at once in the beginning. During what Connor says that Spider-Man lost his powers for good, and I do like how the villains in this universe are smart enough. It's like, the Peter Parker guy, he takes pictures of Spider-Man. I bet he knows what Spider-Man is. So let's go to him. I love that. I love that idea, but not stupid. So the villains cannot be managed. Peter goes to fight them without powers. When Spider-Man fights the Six, he gets on Max, and they're like, this is Peter Parker. He takes pictures of Spider-Man. He probably did this to save his aunt. And they, Peter fakes taking them to see Spider-Man, and then he gets his powers back. But Kingpin is also there, but Spider-Man doesn't see him during this whole time. But he's there in his helicopter. Kingpin managed to kidnap Silverman because Silverman's planning to take out Kingpin. So Kingpin took out Silverman first, and he had Silverman hanging out with a helicopter when Peter was trying to deal with the Six. So Spider-Man is trying to save Silverman, who he doesn't know is Silverman. He just thinks it's a witch old guy. While having some of his powers back, not fully, but somewhat. He beats the Six, saves Silverman, and saves Ant-Man. Release is not dating Mobius, because he saved her from being robbed and Peter was no-show. And I like how being Spider-Man is starting to have weird drawbacks for Peter, because in season 1 it's kind of like, oh, he didn't show up for a date. Slap on the wrist. Instead of something like this, where it's carries on from episode. And Spider-Man goes to see Connors again, and Connors tells Spider-Man he's still mutating, and when he's mutating into, it's not human. So that's a fun thing to be told. Episode 3 just feels like a leftover episode from season 1. It just feels like it was well, I don't know what to do with this episode, so we're just gonna play it here. See how that works. Episode 1, this episode's about Hydra Man, and how he's MJ's old high school boyfriend. He's obsessive. Hydra Man's voiced by Walt Paulson, which I'm like, why does this guy sound so familiar? During while I was watching this review, watching the episode for his review, when Paulson also voiced Yakko and Pinky from Animaniacs and a lot of characters from Ben 10, including Dale and Wombo Vito. And the only important thing from this episode is Hydra Man. He's a thing. And they haven't mentioned how MJ's dad left her and her family when she was a kid. Episode 4 and 5. Spider-Man is freaking out about what Connor said and him turning into something non-human. See what I mean about it just feels like episode 3 was just placed though. Especially watching these episodes back to back. I'm sure you don't feel that when it's weekly releases or whatnot, but when it's back to back, it's yeah, this doesn't fit. Because Peter's really freaking out about, turning into something non-human, so it's just doesn't really fit. So Spider-Man's off to see Professor X to talk about, hey, my body is changing into something I'm not sure of. It's not puberty, I swear. Which makes sense, because who else will you go to see about mutations? In the Marvel Universe, Professor X. He's, head of, mutant DNA and all that stuff in the Marvel Universe. And I like how they make these crossovers with all Marvel characters feel so natural. Instead of, something like the MCU, or, and whatnot. It's oh my god! He's so big, all these superheroes are together! Which is not a problem with, but, when you get, every movie like that, you just kind of we get the same universe. It's not that big of a deal anymore. Um, but, Spider-Man and X-Men fight a bit due to a misunderstanding. I never saw the 90s X-Men cartoon as a kid, but I still think this is cool. Yeah, having that crossover. Also, Woke is cute. Those are my notes, and I feel like I have to mention it, but I think Woke is cute. Anyways, Professor X stops them from fighting. Spider-Man tells, Professor X's problem, but Charles says, I can't help you, I study, mutant genetics, but, I can't get rid of this, mutation inside you or help you prevent it. That's not my expertise. Spider-Man's fierce bill is I save everyone, countless times, but, for one time I need help, I can't get it. Which is a very understandable feeling, especially for, someone that young and all that stuff who countlessly puts his life on the line. That's understandable. That's very human. Um, Beast, catches up to Spider-Man who went off right after Charles tells Spider-Man, I can't help you. And, tells him about Landon. He's the CEO of a brand company, love the name. And research of mutant DNA. Speaking of Landon, he seems to have connections to the Hobgoblin who's blackmailing Landon. Landon is also working with a Kingpin who wants Landon to make an army of mutants. So, that's always fun. Odd Man cannot beat Spider-Man's about to run away from home, but he remembers Uncle Ben's famous words. Don't quit. I like Uncle Ben teaching Peter more than just, with great power comes great responsibility. I like how, again, this carries on from my, a positive from season 1, but Peter has to constantly remind himself the words of his uncle, and that his Uncle Ben is truly his moral compass. Wolverine thinks Spider-Man kidnaps Bees. Hobgoblin attacks Landon at a press conference. The wall's about to come down on Spider-Man, but someone helps Spider-Man not die. Landon was the one who kidnapped Bees. Beast and Landon have a history back when they were in college, when Beast was trying to get rid of his mutant genes, but now he sees his mutant genes as a gift, and Landon used that research to try to kill all mutants. I find it funny that episode 4 ends with Spider-Man and Wolverine fighting because Wolverine thinks, Spider-Man kidnapped Beast and Spider-Man's about to throw a punch and then freeze frame something. And then episode 5 picks up, no punch was thrown. Spider-Man and Wolverine teams up after fight to see if Hobgoblin is trying to retrieve about Landon, who he reveals wants to kill all mutants. Landon has an assistant that thinks if all mutants are dead, they can't suffer, which is pretty fucked up. I mean, it is. Kingpin from Orlando is trying to lie to him about making an army of mutants. The Kingpin was like, he's on his own. Landon falls into his bye-bye mutant juice after getting his, trying to get his research back from the Hobgoblin, which the Hobgoblin stole, to follow blackmail Landon to get money. This turned Landon into a slug monster that feeds off electricity, and feeding off electricity made him into Godzilla size. It was found out that Landon's assistant is a mutant, and she's the one who helped Spider-Man with a collapsing ceiling earlier. The X-Men and Spider-Man turned Landon back into a human, but half of his face is still a slug. Spider-Man goes to see Dr. Crawford, Craven's wife, who I don't think I name dropped in my season 1 review, to help him with his disease. Spider-Man loans, but it's okay to ask for help. Even though he asks Charles Xavier for help, and he asks Connors for help about his problem, but well, that's the less of it wants to learn. And also in my notes, I wrote, I ship Spider-Man and Rogue. I'm way on this Rogue kick. Help me. Maybe next review is with X-Men. Probably not. I'm not promising that, but episode 6. Dr. Crawford modifying cure for Spider-Man. Spider-Man wants to take it right away, but Crawford's like, well, I want to make sure this works. Spider-Man freaks for freak out. But Crawford calms him down. Spider-Man starts to feel pains in his side. Peter is swallowing blood. His test on his blood at Connor's lab. And he puts it in a locker, but Mobius is spying on him, thinking, this, his research to, be, Connor's lab assistant if Connors wins the grant. And Mobius steals Peter's blood. And he also steals all of Connor's equipment, including the recombinator. Felicia comes to his lab, and Mobius is like, look, my home village, this virus killing everyone, I want to cure it. Mobius is wanting to test on Peter's blood, but one of the vampire bats, so Mobius has to, want to test on, gets in the way of a test. And, recombinator, plus Peter's blood, plus vampire bat, plus Mobius equals Mobius, the living vampire. So the censorship around Mobius is that you can't use blood specifically in reference to him sucking blood. You can use blood as in bloodlust, blood in the theme song, etc., etc., but you can't use it specifically in reference to Mobius sucking blood. It's plasma. In that case, it's plasma. And also, second, Mobius can't bite people to suck the blood. He has suckers on his hands, so look like buttholes. And you might say they don't look like buttholes, but really close up when he first transmitted, it looked like a butthole. Just with the way it moved and stuff. Anyways, Bruce returns in this episode, best side character. Spider-Man beats Mobius, and the sun turns him back into a human. Mobius is in the hospital resting. People think, Spider-Man beat up this poor college student. Because of course. And Mobius turns back into a vampire as soon as the moon comes up and flies out the window. Everyone blames Spider-Man for kidnapping Mobius. Peter took the cure because he didn't want to be like Mobius, even though earlier in the episode he's like, you know what? Dr. Crawford is correct. I should wait to take this thing. He's like, nah, screw that. After, Mobius, I don't want to be like that. And Dr. Crawford was like, shoot, if he of course, talking to Craven, as Spider-Man's taking the cure, it's like, if he takes the cure now, it's going to spill up his mutation. And Peter takes the cure, and he grows 4 extra arms. Episode 7 and 8. Peter runs away from home since he has 6 arms now. Rapunzel's in town, takes out some thugs. Peter returns home for a second. MJ so happens to call. Peter makes the relationship worse by dodging her, not talking to her and being rude to her over the phone when she calls. Dr. Crawford tells Spider-Man that Mobius is gone and that he's blamed for kidnapping him. This is JJ's first appearance of season 2. How can you do that to my man JJ? He deserves to be in more episodes. I love that character so much. But news for Mobius is Spider-Man, even though Mobius looks legitimately nothing like Spider-Man, the costume's completely different. And that's how Spider-Man found Mobius. The public now sees 6-armed Spider-Man. The Puncher gets in the way of Spider-Man finding Mobius. Spider-Man escapes the Puncher. Spider-Man explains himself for Mobius since it was his blood that turned him into a vampire. And instead of going to get stay with Dr. Crawford and try and figure out a cure, he goes nah, Mobius is my problem. He remembers Uncle Brandon's great words, with great power comes great responsibility. It is the same 1-minute clip that they used from season 1. Same animation, same exact words. Snow is slow, and it feels lazy. I am sorry. We use animation saves, time and all that jazz. But it's the same lines too. I know, but it also saves money, but it just kind of feels lazy. When Spider-Man finds Mobius via his tape recorder, he listens to the sounds of the background. It's like, okay, this is where Mobius is. But the Punisher gets in the way of Spider-Man fighting Mobius. And then Spider-Man turns into the Man-Spider during his fight with the Punisher. The Man-Spider is fucking awesome. The design is cool, and the Man-Spider spits acid, and he has organic weapon. The Punisher escapes the Man-Spider. Someone saw the Man-Spider until the best police sketch artist ever. The details are incredible on this police sketch artist did. This man should not be a police sketch artist. He should be working for Pixar or Toei or something. The man should be above where he is in life. Lieutenant Lee is back. She puts 2 APBs on Spider-Man, one in episode 7, one in episode 8. Legitimately how episode 8 plays out, in the recap, you hear Lee put an APB on Spider-Man. And then I think 5 minutes in episode 8, she's put an APB on Spider-Man. Just redundant. And maybe puts P.O. missing because, she hasn't seen him in a few days. Craven is back in New York because Crawford calls him to help her out. The Man-Spider and Mobius both try to steal the carburetor at the same time. They both fight a bit. Both Craven and Punch are tracking the Man-Spider. And apparently Harry's now P.O.'s BFF. Manchay's hell, you P.O.'s BFF, even though, in the Hobgoblin 2-part, P.O.'s I don't know you, why do you want to room with me? So I'm not sure, they became friends. It would be nice to see, that happening on screen instead of, feel for plot convenience. Hey, you're my BFF now, bro! Man-Spider kidnaps the Punisher and Craven saves him. Crawford talks Punisher out of killing the Man-Spider by ringing up his family. Punisher's wife and dog got caught up in a gang war. It was shown beautifully, but bam bam, gunshots going off, and then a little kite falls down. But they overdone it. They made it cheesy because the kite falls in a puddle, and sad face shows up on the kite because it got in the puddle, but with wetness shows. That was too much. It almost made me burst down in laughter because it's just so ridiculous. Crawford turns Man-Spider back into Spider-Man. All 3 people respect the reveal. Crawford, Punisher, and Craven all respect that, he was a max, we shouldn't see, who he really is. Punisher asks Craven how he shot the Man-Spider, and he says gunpowder from a bomb that went off in the World Trade Center. First of all, I was shocked that I know it was pre 9/11. World Trade Center's fair game. At that point in time, as a topic in a kids show. But I was did they predict 9/11? But no, I looked into it, and there was a car bombing that went off in the parking garage of the World Trade Center in 1993, which was the year before the show first started. I'm surprised that they were allowed to reference that. But hey, and that's, for Fox censors. So, whatever works. Episode 9 and 10 is probably my least favorite, episodes of this season. Because it's just so repetitive. I'm not gonna go in depth like I have with the rest of the episodes. Because it's just most of the time with this 2 parts Blade, which is cool why he's here. It makes sense why he's here. It's to fight Mobius. Vampire hunter, vampire. Makes sense. Finds Mobius and then who is trying to kill Mobius. When Spider-Man comes in, stops stops Blade from killing Mobius. Then Blade gets mad at Spider-Man and starts fighting Spider-Man. And then Mobius gets away. If it happens 5 or 6 times throughout the 2 parts, it's boring to see. Like, first time it's cool, second time, yeah, I get it. Third time, you're just like, okay. Then, after that, it's just... Point details in this episode. It's just like, Connor's giving Spider-Man treatment via the combo over 24 hours to stop him from turning back into the man spell, because he's fully cured. To protect MJ, Peter broke up with her because Mobius is trying to find more of Peter's blood, even though Mobius doesn't know it's Peter's blood. He's like, this pocket kid must have more of this stuff. So he broke up with her to try and protect her from Mobius. And she's now going out with Harry. Talks about Blade's mom, about how Blade's trying to find her. And Mobius turns into a man-bat. Because he was going to turn Felicia into a vampire, then Felicia's like, it's not you, man. It's not you. You wanted to kill, like, the virus in your hometown. And he's like, you're right, my love? And the Comboy was about to turn Felicia into a vampire, then Mobius steps in the way. And that made him more bat than man. So, man-bat. A lot of man creatures this season. I like the design of them, though. Episodes 11 and 12. Exposed, find the tablet of time, but everyone in the Marvels want. Like, legitimately, it's like, everyone fucking wants this thing. Connor, when Connor, gets under stress, will turn to the lizard. A lot of stress. That begins the biggest game of switcheroo in the shortest amount of time possible. So, okay, wait, Hammerhead gets upset with Silverman, who he was working under, so he started to work with Kingpin. Aster got the tablet of time from Connors, who was researching it. Then, Aster gets Connor's wife. Silverman has a villain called Tombstone to kidnap the Kingpin's wife. Then Tombstone kidnaps Connors. Hammerhead kidnaps, Aster, not Aster, Alyssa, who is, Superman's daughter, who is also a spy for Superman, to spy on Connors. There was a hostage exchange, and the results of the Kingpin got his wife back, and Superman got the tablet of time for Connors and Spider-Man. Yeah, like, that happened. Actually, really. That took, like, what, maybe, like, first 1.5 episodes was too far for all that to go down. It was just, like, everyone switching with everyone, type stuff. So, basically, Superman wants to be young again, so he wants Connor to use the Tower of Time to do so. Spider-Man realized Superman was the fallen man that he saved in the, episode 2. And he goes like, yeah, if I knew he was a crime boss, probably wouldn't have saved him. The end result is that Superman got his wish, he became young again. But too young, he became a baby. Which Connors did warn his daughter. It's like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And she's like, you stalling. So, Superman became a little boss baby. Kingpin's wife left him, so he wants something to do with the Tablet of Time, which Hammerhead got from Silverman during the final fight. So Hammerhead saw it. I might as well make money off of your deeds. Okay, so the last 2 episodes, 13 and 14. Norman Osborn's trying to buy out Adrian 2's company. He's the one who's giving away the grant, but throughout the season, Toombs doesn't like this, so he becomes the version and has the power to steal the youth from people for showtime. The youth goes back, after some amount of time. Connor's got the Toombs grant. It chose Deborah to be his assistant. Spider-Man figures out that Toombs is the virgin via the Dave Buger's picture database that he was able to match. It's like the Dave Buger has access to the, police database or some shit. We found out that Toombs is falling for Bob the Tower of Stone and uses powers in his suit. MJ got a letter from father saying he wants to meet, and she wants Peter to be there. Flash got some development. He's not as selfish and starting to date Deborah. The Vulture steals Spider-Man's youth, And he also gets Spider-Man powers from stealing his roof, including the man spider disease, which he turns into the man spider in and out. And Spider-Man's youth doesn't go back to him because of Spider-Man's mutation keeping the youth in the vulture. So Spider-Man's having a hard time as an old man. And the Scorpion shows up. He kidnaps Stillwell. He was now in a mental hospital because people think he's crazy. Because he thinks the Scorpion is out to get him. And which the Scorpion ultimately does kidnap him to turn him back to normal. Virgil goes to Connor to help him with his man spider problem. And all the parties, Scorpion's farewell. Connor's, Virgil, and Spider-Man show up at Teams' lab. With Tussle. Connor's trick for Virgil and giving Spider-Man his powers back by making it so the Virgil still has the man spider disease. So Spider-Man is free from the man spider disease forever. It's gone. He took the disease and moved it somewhere else. Stillwell blows up through a copper because look at what happened over the last past 2 seasons. How much chaos it has caused. It caused the Lizard, it caused the Scorpion, it caused the Spider-Man, it caused Mobius. It's not exactly the most peaceful device out there. And Connors has to figure out how to kill himself for being bliss on his own. The season ends with MJ being kidnapped by a man because Peter was late to meet up with her to meet her father. Overall, I think the season somehow both worse and better than season 1. I've noticed a lot more animation errors while watching this season than season 1. They'll repeat a lot of the same stuff, in the Blade episode. It's just Blade, as I explained, Blade fights Mobius, Spider-Man cuts in, and Blade fights Spider-Man 6 or 7 times in that 2-part. And then Connors turned into the Lizard 3 times in the last 4 episodes, and he's just we get it. He's the Lizard. This doesn't even happen so often, so in such a section. Because I feel like if the last time he turns into the Lizard, it was very much it was literally maybe a minute, but he was the Lizard. It's just remember he's the Lizard. Okay, he's back to normal now. It's just kind of it feels like we were starting for time. In some of these 2 parts, they had too much material for 1 episode, but if they didn't have enough for 2 parts, so they just extended it out. It's also frustrating for sometimes to give small details, Chaco and Rhino of only ones who recognize the Kingpin's voice because they worked with him before. And other times, they don't. Not how Harry is Peter's BFF, man. That's just very frustrating. And the overarching story is very well done, I think. It's very cool that they did, okay, here's a theme. The main story beat is Spider-Man dealing with his mutation. But, there's other things surrounding this mutation that have to do with neurogenics. It's not just, Spider-Man and dealing with the man spider disease. It's just okay, let's find some X-Men, let's find Mobius, and, all that jazz. And I think, overall, I enjoy, the stories of this season better than season 1. Overall. Just slightly. Just very slightly. So I would put this above season 1 in terms of enjoyment. But so slightly that I still give this season an 8 out of 10. It's nothing. It's still really good, still fun and all that jazz, but it's not spectacularly better or anything like that. Not enough to get a whole number above season 1. So that's my review of Spider-Man season 2. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.